In 2019, a 52-year-old teacher named Margaret Foss sat down to write a lesson plan. She'd done it 1,000 times, but the words wouldn't come. She forgot her students' names. She lost her keys 3 times before noon. Her doctor said it was stress. He was wrong. Margaret wasn't burned out. Her brain was aging fast, years ahead of schedule, and the terrifying part? The signs had been there for over a decade. She just didn't know what to look for. You might not either. What you're about to see changed how scientists understand brain aging. And it might change what you do tonight. Here's what nobody tells you. Your brain doesn't wait until you're old to start declining. For millions of people, it starts in their 40s, sometimes earlier. And by the time you notice, real damage has already been done. But there are 7 warning signs, and if you catch them early, the science says you can reverse the trajectory. Before we go further, I want you to try something. Think of what you had for dinner exactly 3 nights ago. Every detail, the taste, the plate, who was there. Hold that image in your mind right now. 10. Got it? Here's what that means. If you struggled, or if the image was vague and patchy, that's your hippocampus under stress. It's not a party trick. It's one of the earliest measurable signs of accelerated brain aging. Keep watching, because the reason why might surprise you. Let's start with a number that stopped researchers cold. 40%. That's how much gray matter volume the average person loses between ages 45 and 75. Not a little. Not a rounding error. 40%. Gray matter is where your thinking lives, your decisions, your memories, your emotional control. And it's quietly shrinking, right now, in millions of people who feel completely fine. The journal Cerebral Cortex published data in 2020 confirming the rate of loss accelerates sharply in midlife. Most people assume decline is an old person's problem. The data says otherwise. Midlife is when the trajectory is set. This is the window that matters most. In 2021, researchers at University College London tracked 8,000 adults over 10 years. They weren't looking at memory tests, they were looking at sleep. Specifically, how many hours of sleep participants got in midlife. What they found was alarming. People who consistently slept 6 hours or less per night at age 50 had a 30% higher risk of developing dementia later in life. Not correlated, not suggested, 30% higher risk. The mechanism is direct. During deep sleep, your brain activates something called the glymphatic system. It's essentially your brain's waste disposal. It flushes out toxic proteins, including amyloid beta, the same protein that accumulates in Alzheimer's disease. Cut sleep short, and the garbage piles up. Night after night, year after year. Here's where it gets worse. It's not just how long you sleep, it's what kind of sleep you're getting. After age 50, the average person loses 60% of their slow-wave deep sleep compared to their 30s. 60%. That's the stage where memory consolidation happens, where growth hormone is released, where the glymphatic system is most active. And here's the brutal part. Most people have no idea this is happening. You can sleep 8 hours and still be losing the deep sleep your brain desperately needs. You wake up feeling rested enough, but your brain has been running a cleanup cycle at 40% capacity for years. This is why brain fog in your 50s isn't just tiredness, it's structural. So what's actually happening inside the aging brain? It's not one thing, it's a cascade. And once it starts, each step makes the next one worse. First, chronic low-grade inflammation, called neuroinflammation, begins damaging the myelin sheath. That's the protective coating on your neurons. Think of it like the insulation on an electrical wire. When it breaks down, signals slow. They misfire. Second, the blood-brain barrier weakens. Toxins that should stay out start leaking in. Third, mitochondria in brain cells become less efficient. Your neurons are literally running out of energy. And fourth, the one that seals it, the brain's repair mechanisms slow down. Neurogenesis, the birth of new neurons, drops sharply. The brain loses its ability to fix itself. This is why the 7 signs matter. Each one maps to a step in this cascade. Catch them early, and you can interrupt the chain. Now for the sign most people completely dismiss: word-finding delay. You know the feeling. The word is right there. You can almost taste it, but it won't come. You say the thing, or you know what I mean. Most people chalk it up to distraction. Scientists call it anomia. And a landmark 2022 study from MIT's Age Lab found that word retrieval begins declining measurably as early as age 45. Not 65, not 70, 45. But here's the part that changes everything. The decline isn't inevitable. It's largely driven by reduced dopamine signaling in the prefrontal cortex. And dopamine signaling is directly modifiable through behavior. The brain can be pushed back, but only if you know what's driving the drop, and only if you act before the structural changes become permanent. Stanford published a study in 2023 that turned conventional wisdom on its head. Researchers analyzed blood biomarkers in over 4,200 adults and found that brain aging doesn't happen gradually and evenly. It happens in waves. 2 dramatic acceleration points emerged, one at age 44 and another at age 60. At each wave, dozens of proteins linked to neurodegeneration spiked simultaneously. The researchers were blunt. These aren't slow declines. These are biological cliff edges. Most people walk off the first one without realizing it. The good news, and this is critical, the study also identified which biomarkers were most responsive to lifestyle intervention. Sleep quality, inflammatory diet markers, physical inactivity, all modifiable, all within your control. Starting today, the science is sobering. But here's what it actually means. It means the lever is in your hands. Researchers at Stanford weren't describing a death sentence. They were describing a warning system. And a warning you can act on is the most valuable thing in medicine. The 3 steps that follow are not supplements, not expensive protocols. They cost nothing. They take minutes. And the research says they directly address the cascade we just walked through. Let's build your protocol. 3 steps, all free, all starting tonight. Step 1. Fix your sleep architecture. Don't just sleep longer, sleep colder. Drop your bedroom temperature to between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Research shows this single change increases slow-wave deep sleep by up to 10%. More glymphatic cleaning. Less amyloid buildup. Step 2. Do 10 minutes of nasal breathing exercises before bed. Slow nasal breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, lowers cortisol, and has been shown to increase slow-wave sleep duration. No app required. Just breathe in for 4 counts through your nose, out for 6. Step 3. Eat your first meal within 1 hour of waking. Circadian-aligned eating stabilizes your brain's inflammatory response. It directly reduces the neuroinflammation driving that cascade. Every day you delay this, the cascade continues unchecked. Here's your 7-day experiment. It costs nothing, but pay attention to how you feel on day 7 versus day 1. You'll be surprised. Days 1 and 2. Implement the sleep temperature drop and the nasal breathing. Just those 2 things. Days 3 and 4. Add the morning meal timing. Notice your afternoon energy and focus. Days 5 and 6. Cut all screens for 30 minutes before bed. This alone has been shown to increase melatonin production by up to 55%. Day 7. Repeat the episodic memory test from the beginning of this video. Recall what you had for dinner 3 nights ago. Notice the difference in clarity and speed. That difference is measurable. That difference is real. Here's what you need to carry with you. Brain aging doesn't announce itself. It disguises itself as stress, as busyness, as getting older. But the science is clear. The trajectory is set in midlife, not old age. What you do in the next 7 days matters more than what you do at 70. And the second thing to remember, you are not powerless. The same Stanford study that found those biological cliff edges also confirmed that lifestyle intervention changes the biomarker picture measurably within weeks. Sleep, inflammation, circadian rhythm. These are not small levers. They are the levers. Tonight is not too late. But waiting makes it harder. Every week on this channel, we take the most important longevity research on the planet and translate it into something you can actually use. No fluff, no supplements to sell, just science delivered straight. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's next.